Hello and welcome to the VA's Spotlight series, where we bring you insights and stories from industry leaders who are driving the future of business and technology. Today, we are honored to have CP Gurnani, who's known for his innovative leadership and impactful models in the business world. With a rich history as CEO and Managing Director at Tech Mahindra, CP Gurnani has led significant organizational changes and introduced leadership programs that have shaped many young leaders. Let's dive into our conversation with CP Gurnani and learn more about his journey and vision for the future. Welcome, CP sir. It's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you for inviting me over. And I'm sure this conversation would be fun.
Thank you so much, sir. I have a series of questions and we would like to just understand your perspective and your insights to know more about yourself. Welcome, CP sir. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Can you share with us your journey in the business world and what initially inspired you to pursue your careers in the field of tech and now artificial intelligence?
I think they are interesting life story. I'll actually take this conversation in a very different way. When my daughter wanted to decide what career choices she would make or what courses she would select, the conversation I used to have with my daughter was, I don't want to do this. That means my daughter had a bigger laundry list of what she would not do instead of telling me what she wants to do. Whereas, when I was growing up, the choices were limited to what is the best way to satisfy your parents and help nurture their dreams. So as their dreams are limited, either you become an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or a state bank probationary officer. So thank you. Here I became a chemical engineer, and I realized that by actually working in various organizations for the first 3 years of my life, I did what my daughter did 30 years later, that I realized I'm not cut out to be a production engineer. I'm not cut out to be I'm not cut out to be a guy who copies somebody else's design and calls himself a design engineer, or I'm not cut out to be a lab engineer. So having now decided that I would not do those roles, I had to find my sweet spot. And I found my sweet spot was in project management, dealing with people, and utilizing my exposure of being a chemical engineer to extrapolate situations into what is the right input matrix and what is the right output matrix. And it's worked out well because I lived my life after that. I graduated in 1981. 43 years later, I can say that I still love meeting people. I still love solving problems. I still like to have a bit of a creative, bit of an innovative streak in me. And I love to challenge myself, and I love to challenge people around me. So it's worked out well for me.
Thank you, sir. So throughout your career, you've led certain significant organizational changes. If you can share some insights with our audiences in terms of what prompted you to make those changes and what outcomes you envisaged through them.
Most of us, when we change, we want to change for different reasons. Number one, it could be because you have run a diagnostics. I'll take individual as an example. Let's say an individual, Anil or a Sunil or a Shruti, wants to change. So it could be forced because your lab results have shown that you need to change your lifestyle habits. Now there you're responding to a crisis. Number two is you want to change because you suddenly feel that you want to, look like a Hrithik Roshan or look like one of the fancy actresses in India. So the point here is very simple, that either you're chasing your dreams or you're responding to a crisis. Organizations are also living beings. Organizations are made of people, are made of not only internal people but external people, which is what I call customers. As a matter of fact, I take the ecosystem even further. I say it's not only your people, it is not only your customer, but it is the customer's customer. So if you can take a ecosystem and then say, what is a win-win for all three? So let's take an example. Today, I am servicing TTLH. Now, TTLH means travel, transportation, logistics, and hospitality. Now, who is my customer? Is it a hotel my customer or a hotel's customer is my customer? Is it an airline which is my customer or is it an airline's customer which is my customer? The moment I start taking into account the win-win for all three, then I would be able to identify the gaps. If I identify the gaps in what my current state is and what my future state should be, I think there is a need for an organizational change. And that change, to me, is a periodic check. As you and I started the conversation by saying we are individuals. So we run a diagnostics. We also take into account what is win-win-win. And eventually, we take decisions. Sometimes they're pleasant. Sometimes they have to be sold.
Thank you, sir. As a leader, what qualities do you believe are most important in driving a team towards success?
I think it's a loaded question, but when I meet a person, I definitely look for their capability to dream big. I definitely look for a leader who is not only dreaming big, but also has a capability to execute, and he has a track record to execute. And number third is, does he communicate? So for me, if a person has come to discuss leadership with me, I'm assuming all the basic parameters of hard work, passion, your desire to succeed, all of these are already there. Now it is the question is your vision, your execution, and your capability to communicate. I think it's a loaded question, but when I meet a person, I definitely look for their capability to dream big.
And in your opinion, sir, how can businesses best navigate the challenges of digital transformation?
I've been a digital transformation practitioner for almost 4 decades. And as a practitioner, technology might change. At one point of time, we were dealing with mainframes. Today, we're dealing with our mobile phones, which are far superior than the mainframes of yesterday. But what I find common in any digital journey is people spend hours and days and months to select the technology. Thank you very much. It's important. But as my doctor would tell me, when I went for a weight loss program, and she tried asking me, what does my normal day look like and how much do I exercise? I told her an hour a day, and then she said, how much do you burn? Is it agreed? Because 1 hour means maybe 600 calories. Now tell me, how much do you eat? And I tried giving her all the nice answers of being the typical North Indian, that I love my pakoras and I love my samosas, I love my sugar. And she said, thank you very much. It is 90% diet and 10% burn. So it's a similarly, my belief on digital transformation is, again, I'm trying to do a parallel between an individual and the corporation. It is more about vision. Yesterday was a legacy system. Today is going to be a future state-of-the-art system. Do we communicate it? Do we market it internally? Do we realize it is not technology transformation alone? It is about people accepting the change. And number third is, more important is, do we measure the change? I mean, no point in, saying we will change and we'll never measure it. Do we take a feedback? So I'll give you an example. Many, many years ago, when there used to be a life which was called around dumb terminals, which means you just got some ASCII characters. And we changed it for a car rental company, and we changed the interfaces to be more graphic, to be more user-friendly, what we thought was user-friendly. And we actually brought the system with a new UX design. And to take feedback, I went to the lady her system was changed because she was a booking agent. And I asked her, from an old ASCII system, old monochromatic system, do you like this new terminal? Do you like this new system? And she said, no, it's too slow. Yeah, maybe it is better looking, but it is too slow. My point is that do we take a feedback? Do we correct ourselves? So I think fundamental of digital transformation is all about people and processes, and more importantly is continuously measure how you're doing on the goals. And taking feedback is very, very important.
Thank you, sir. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to make a significant impact in their industries? And trust me, coming from you, these will be pearls of wisdom that I'm sure the budding entrepreneurs can pick up.
I think I could do with advice because I was a corporate entrepreneur. EY even gave me an award for being the entrepreneur of the year. And here I am restarting my journey as a real entrepreneur. That means I put money where my mouth is. I put my time where I want to go. So I think I need advice more than when I meet these youngsters, I find them very, very confident. I find them a lot more intelligent and focused than I am. As a matter of fact, there's a friend of mine called Ritesh Agarwal, who is the founder of OYO. I actually go up to him for advice. He's definitely much younger, like he's a few decades younger, but I go to him for advice. And the reason is, when he was in a small village in Odisha, he chose to become an entrepreneur. And today he runs one of the largest platforms, rebranded a particular setup with that. So I do not have a real answer for this. I think entrepreneurs instinctively know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. They build teams built on their strengths and built on some of their weaknesses. So for example, when I spend a lot of time with entrepreneurs, some are very, very smart technocrats. They bring in their cohorts or their classmates or their seniors to work together with them to fill up their lack of knowledge of marketing or sales or scale up or finance or legal. Similarly, I've come across people, who even take senior advisors because they know that for this journey, they will need a lot of help and support. So I salute the entrepreneurs, and I salute that it doesn't matter which part of the world they are in. I genuinely believe that entrepreneurs think outside the box, but more importantly is they know execution is not one individual or three partners. Execution is all about carrying the village and the team with you. I think I could do with advice because I was a corporate entrepreneur. EY even gave me an award for being the entrepreneur of the year. And here I am restarting my journey as a real entrepreneur. That means I put money where my mouth is. I put my time where I want to go. So I think I need advice more than when I meet these youngsters, I find them very, very confident. I find them a lot more intelligent and focused than I am. As a matter of fact,
Looking ahead, what are your future aspirations and goals, both personally and professionally?
I wish I could, Shruti, it reminds me, when I announced my retirement, it made newspapers and news channels. And one of my largest clients, he asked me, what's my bucket list? I was traveling in US and I looked at him and I said, oh, let's call him Mr. Smith. And I think, Mr. Smith, I don't have a bucket list. If there was anything on my bucket list, I would have worked on it and I would have made it happen. He looked at me, he thought I was strange, but it just so happened and during that trip, 6 people asked me the same question in different formats. What's your future plans? Somebody said, are you going to play golf more, play more golf or whatever? I came back, sat with my wife Anita, and I said, listen, we need to form a wish list now. We need to do XYZ. And eventually it all boiled down to 3 things. Number 1 was family goals. Obviously, you want to spend more time with the family, want to support my family in what their dreams are. For example, my wife Anita is very passionate about her NGO called Titliya. How can I support her to continue making an impact? When I talk to my son or daughter, they have their own wish list. My daughter-in-law, son-in-law, they have their wish list. So we spoke to each other and we said we will help each other fulfill our dreams. So that was on the family side. On the health side, I mean, all I promised to my family, they wanted me to actually become that Hrithik Roshan that we started talking about. But I told them every quarter I will do a basic body checkup so that if there is any correction to be made, I can make that correction in time. So that became a health goal. Every quarter, do a correction and do a checkup. Similarly, on financial goals, I mean, a part of it was preservation of, what I'd earned. All the other part was, what can I do to make further impact? So we did sit down and make a lot of goals, but they will all be, fairly comprehensive because, as I said, it covered family, health, finance, emotional, but more often than not, what I have felt is, have fun. And that's why I remember when Tech Mahindra was writing there, asking me to, give a, almost like they asked me a question. Tech Mahindra folks asked me a question that if you want to write a book on your own life, what would what would the header of that book look like? And I said, my first instinct was work hard, play hard, because that's how I shape my life. Then the second was Panga Rele. Now, Panga Rele really means is dare to be a doer.
Yep.
So I think I want to register this Panga Rele. I wish I could, Shruti, it reminds me, when I announced my retirement, it made newspapers and news channels. And one of my largest clients, he asked me, what's my bucket list? I was traveling in US and I looked at him and I said, let's call him Mr. Smith. And I think, Mr. Smith, I don't have a bucket list. If there was anything on my bucket list, I would have worked on it.
Thank you, sir. It was lovely speaking with you and interacting with you today. Thank you for sharing valuable insights and experiences. Your journey and dedication to leadership and innovation is truly inspiring, and we appreciate the knowledge and some perspectives that you've shared with our audience today. To our viewers, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the VA Spotlight series. Stay connected for more engaging conversations with industry leaders. Until next time, keep innovating and leading with purpose. Goodbye.